Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass. Live in the color here with you on Grande's Graveyard. And tonight I am joined by longtime listener, first time guest on the graveyard. He is the one, the only Bradley from the Soulless Trench Coat. Bradley, brother Trench, welcome to my graveyard. Welcome. How are you tonight, man?
I'm doing good. It's good to be up here and finally talking with you in person. Like I said earlier.
Yeah, it's a long time coming, man, because you've been watching my show. I mean, it feels like since the beginning. I believe we met through.
Oh no, not since the beginning. I found you through Corey. I think it has been a couple years though.
Really? Through Corey? I always thought it was through Nate. Maybe Corey found me through Nate. You found me through Corey. And then we just kind of hit it off when you would chat and message and stuff. And, whether it be Teen Titans and things. And I think we're born from around the same era. So we grew up on a lot of the same stuff. And it was kind of just, that like chemistry right off the bat. And that's why I was like, man, I got to get Trenchy on for a show. And you had told me in the past that Pet Sematary was your all-time favorite horror movie. Thus, we're sitting here right now live at 8:05 talking all things Pet Sematary night. So I wanted to say thank you for joining tonight. We've got a bunch of people in the chat. Miss Carter's here. Ciao, Grande and Trenchy. Waving hello. What's going on, Miss C?
Hello.
Cooper Glover's in the house. Hey, Grande and Trench. What's going on, Brian? Slasher Fred. Sometimes Dad is better. Yo, Trench, give me your best Fred Gwynn impersonation. Go for it.
Oh god damn it. Sometimes that I can't do it. I can't even do it, man.
It's okay. It's on the spot. See, this is the dangers of live. Neil,
his voice is...
Neil's in the house. Neil's here. Mateo, ciao, Grande. Follow Victor to the sacred place. This ain't a dream I can't escape. Dude, Ramones for life. I love it. And we can't forget about Sheena, right? Because Sheena's a fucking punk rocker. And we're going to be rocking out tonight. I promise you. Ty Junebug Films in the house. Ty, good brother. What's going on, man? Hope all is well with you. It's good brother Tom is here. Hi, all. The Undead of Night. Any movie that has a Ramone in it is awesome. Of course. We got to love the fucking Ramones. But this is tradition for first-time guests. I always do this for first-time guests. We're going to do getting to know you questions. And I know nobody likes to ask me questions on when I do Q&A videos more than this guy right here, Bradley. And thus, in that vein, I've got some questions for you on the old phone here. So if you're ready, I'm going to throw some questions at you, man. You ready?
Okay, yeah. Hit me.
All right. Question number one. We're going to start with a fun one, all right? It's the final supper. Your ass, you and Horace Pinker are walking to the electric chair. It's your last meal. Give me an appetizer, entree, 2 sides, veggie, dessert, and the most important part of all of this. What the hell are you drinking before the final supper?
Oh, God. I feel like I've been asked this before.
Well, here we are live, brother. We're going to spot again. What are you eating, my friend? What are you eating before you get electrocuted with Horace?
Damn. This is hard. So I don't even know what would be considered as an appetizer. I guess maybe like some salad or something. That might be an appetizer.
Health guru you. No mozzarella sticks, no calamari, nothing?
I don't know, just off the top. But well, it's gonna get shit in a second because it's probably like for like main courses, probably be like spaghetti. Really, that's like one of my favorite foods. Mac and cheese. Gotta have some sort of chicken in there because chicken is fantastic.
Chicken and mac?
That could work. Or like, if they somehow mixed the mac and cheese with the chicken and made like chicken mac and cheese, that would be fucking dope.
That sounds like something fucking Chick-fil-A is going to try to do. Oh, we've got grilled chicken mac and cheese. Everybody order your DoorDash right now. But okay, so that's entree. What about, are you going with veggie and are you going dessert drink? What are we going with these 3?
Oh, yeah. Veggie. I don't know. Probably like some sort of... I'm trying to think. Maybe like a tomato or something. I don't know. I guess the goal the goal is, since I'm gonna die, I probably want to try to shit myself so I could shit all over the electric chair so they have to pick it up because they're killing me. So,
Yo, that's 200 IQ.
like, probably get like some for the drink, probably like some milkshake or something. Like,
What kind?
like
What
because
flavor?
I'm lactose intolerant.
Well, fuck that, man.
Like
You'd get in the chair
chocolate.
anyway. Drink all the milk you want.
Yeah. Well, I do anyways, but like it. Yeah.
Okay. So, what flavored shake though? Before we move to the next question.
Probably chocolate. I like chocolate, or like Neapolitan if they could make a Neapolitan shake, because that's my favorite ice cream.
I think that's quite a final meal. Little Caesar salad, little chicken and mac and cheese, a little fucking chocolate milkshake. You know, a
Yeah.
little tomato. I think you got a quite an interesting final meal. A little unorthodox, but I love it, man. And I hope you shit all over their electric chair. I think that'd be a great fuck you before you hit the fucking, hit the Pet Sematary. Rest in peace, TV. Tommy Joey, yeah, no, for real. Hey, it's Eric here is in the house. I show up, I hear people talking about chicken mac and cheese. Now I'm hungry. Well, it's his final meal, Eric. You gotta be filled when we hit the hay. I think if it was me, I would just eat everything until I have a heart attack, so I don't have to there. No, my favorite is the people that order like this one guy ordered like 6,000 hamburgers, and they had to fill the request, and then he refused to eat them. Like, to me, that's the funniest thing of all time. Like, fuck you. Like, I'm not even eating this now. Like, that is the greatest thing. You're going to shit yourself anyway. You might as well eat something like hard-boiled eggs and give them a nice little present. Oh, my God. Oh.
That would work.
Graphic.
That would work.
Hard-boiled eggs is the last meal? No. Come on. Maybe the breakfast of the day of the last meal. Cooper Glover says, Trench, I think these days they execute people with internal injection instead of electric chair. But, hey, This is my scenario, my question. You're like getting electrocuted, bro. No lethal injection. Boring. Too boring for me. I don't know. But all right, next question. We're going to get a little bit heavier here. What's a horror movie or any genre movie that impacted you emotionally and made you see the world different after viewing it? One that really left an impact on you.
Oh, damn. Well, there's two off the top. One of them we'll be talking about tonight.
Okay.
And the other one is a Rocky Horror Picture Show. Because that movie's fantastic.
And what about it spoke to you and left an impact with you?
Well, just like everybody focuses on just how weird it is, and yes, it's a really weird movie, but there's a lot of like deep kind of ideas about like humanity in it, especially at the end. And it really changed my mind on musicals. I used to not like musicals, and now it's one of my favorite genres of all time.
What about it when it goes in depth about like, human? I'll be honest, that's a movie where I never really saw that much of a deeper meaning. That's why I asked. What deeper meaning did you find within the film?
Well, just like when they're talking about how we're all like little specks, and that like humanity is feeble, and there's a lot of layers to that movie. I feel I might be sounding pretentious, but there's a lot of like interesting layers. Like you have like Frankenfurter, who represents, I think they said like the 70s, and he's killing Ellie, who's like representing the 50s, and it's how the new generation kills the old generation to move forward. And there's a lot of interesting stuff in there, but sometimes it will live on because they're like literally eating him in the. It's weird, but I love that movie.
I love it too. That's great. I never looked for that. So I got to say, next time I watch it, I will be looking like a hawk. Before we get to my next question for you, though, question for the both of us. Mateo asks, have we read the book? I have not. Have you?
No, I've read a few Stephen King, but I sadly never got around to this one, which is kind of ironic. I guess.
And the cool thing is, he actually wrote the screenplay for this movie and made sure they pretty much followed it pretty rigorously. At least that's what I've been reading in my show prep. So this screenplay is as close at least to, what he wanted for this movie to be. I guess it's very similar to the book. I know there's a couple of differences. I mean, there's always
Yeah.
differences, but I'd be sure that it's a true adaptation of the book. If it's not, Mateo, let us know. Or if you think the book is better, or sometimes Dad is better. Maybe sometimes the book is better. Let's do the time warp again, Brian saying. Okay, next question. Red pill, blue pill. Red pill, you can get your dream job at a very good salary. Blue pill, $5 million tomorrow, tax-free money, no questions asked. Which pill are you taking and why?
Wait, what was the second pill again?
So red pill, you're going to get your dream job at a very good salary, cozy salary, nothing bad. Blue pill, you're going to get $5 million, tax-free money, no worries, no questions, no ifs, ands, or buts, just $5 million of tax-free money. Which pill are you taking and why?
Before I go forward with this, I would like to say sorry for everybody in the chat, including you, but fuck that movie, it's bullshit. I'm on that purple pill, but if I have to choose between red or blue, I'll go red, I guess.
Red, and why? Why would you do dream job, and what would your dream job be?
Because if you're doing what you love, it's never gonna be a job. And I'm not very good at it, but I would like to be a writer full time. It'll probably never happen, but I've written a few short stories, but never anything concrete. But
what genre of stories?
Yeah,
were they horror stories, comedy stories?
Well, they were both kind of horror, but also kind of sci-fi. They both got destroyed. My mom accidentally washed them in the washing machine, but that's not her fault. Shit happens. But yeah, it's one was like involving World War II, and some of that stuff I was looking back at it, and I'm like, yeah, probably shouldn't have I don't know. There's things I did wrong, but my mom really liked the stories, and I guess other people really liked them. So.
Hey, man, I would say keep going, because that's one of the beautiful things about, whether it be YouTube or verbalizing or writing to express yourself. It's just good to express yourself, whether you're profiting or not. And I think that, writing, that's great. I think you pop that red pill, and I think you should go for it, man. And whatever makes you happy. That's great that you're like more sci-fi, fantasy, that road. I mean, that's got to be a lot of fun to kind of just let yourself go and be creative. Those are definitely the stories you like to tell. So that's great, man. I hope you keep doing it.
Yeah, I got some ideas for like books, but there would be like a while before, because I got the idea, the basic idea, the beginning and the end. It's just a lot of the middle, and just going down that journey would be hard.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's definitely, nothing's easy, man. Nothing, but that's nice that you do it, even if for fun. Let's hope the next time you write these stories, they don't end up in the washing machine. Let's hopefully this time they that could have been, that was a hilarious story. Okay, last question, and then we're gonna get to the movies.
Yeah.
You may have asked me this once before. You're walking along the beach and you run into a genie, a bottle. You rub that lamp, and the genie pops out, and he says, "Trenchy, 3 wishes." What are your 3 wishes?
Damn, 3.
And you can't wish for more wishes, obviously. That's the only rule.
Oh, no,
I know you're smart. You would wish for more wishes.
Yeah, there's always that loophole, though. Like, I have to think. Well, one would probably be, I'll probably wish for a lot of my friends and family and stuff to be in better places than they are currently. I wish good for them. 2, I probably wish to get out of the state I'm in right now. Get the fuck out of here.
Where would you go?
I don't know. I think probably somewhere close, not too far away, but just like, or maybe even same state, but just different area of the state. But just get the fuck out of Dodge, out of here.
Okay. What about wish number 3?
Because um, what would I wish for? This. I would wish for a fire-breathing flying goat because that would be awesome. Giant fire-breathing flying goat. That would be the shit.
All right. So the family's getting out to a nice place. You're moving out of the state, and there's going to be a fucking flying, fire-breathing dragon fucking goat. So I think those are some beautiful wishes. See, some people, these amateurs, they would wish for, voluptuous women or money upon money. You, fire-breathing goat. This is why we have to ask Trenchy these crucial questions. So thank you for answering my getting to know you questions. Couple comments, and then we're going to get right into the films. The book is my all-time favorite King book. He didn't want to publish it. He thought it was too dark and only did it to finish up a publishing contract. Wow. Can you imagine, trying to meet your quota and you turn out something this great? Not too much is different in the book. Judd has a wife in the book. Lewis saves her after a heart attack. That's why he introduced Lewis to Micmac, ground to Berry Church, few other things. Okay, yeah, some plot conveniences that would be, important. $5 million because then I could make the movie and then hopefully make more money. Okay, that's a fair way. Some people would take the money, try to invest it. I know that there's a lot of different, thoughts to those questions. I was going to publish those papers for you, Trench. Oh, okay, there you go. Brian's going to be your publisher. If you guys have ever seen the classic 1950s film On the Waterfront, Fred Gwynne has an uncredited appearance in that movie. Yes, and Martin Balsam is also in that. That's a a lot of people consider that one of the best movies ever made. Just propose the ideas online, Trench. Okay, or opens up a bottle. Trench, wish for a wish to have 1,000 wishes. See, I beat you to it. Even if you're not a great wire, keep doing it. It's therapeutic. I agree completely with Mateo. Yeah. I think it's just good to, like, for me, I occasionally write stuff, but for me, it's like, this is my therapeutic. Like, I just get on here and talk about what I want to. I think it's good. Like, neither one of us are going to profit, but the beauty is it's just good to just express. I think it's the most, therapeutic thing ever. I agree with Mateo completely. Wish number 1, Megan break up with Machine Gun Kelly. You would wish for them to break up?
Really? Jesus, Ty, what the fuck?
Yeah. And come to good old Ty. Number 2, I make a movie. Number 3, I return to Hollywood to its former glory. Well, number 1, you kind of wish for 2 things, for them to break up and for her to come with you. So one of the Hollywood things has to go. I agree with Mateo, doing things like writing. It is, man. It's the best feeling in the world. Like, I swear to you, this is my therapy session. It's a free therapy session every week. It's wonderful. Fire breathing go. Good for you, Trenchy. Keep it simple. Hey, I love it. I love it too. But we are done with wishes. We are done with final meals. We are done with red pills and blue pills. Now we're going to enter a forbidden place, an Indian sacred burial ground where maybe, just maybe, we're going to start burying some motherfuckers. And it's not Grande's graveyard. No, it is a little movie from the year 1989, a little movie that could, directed by Mary Lambert, written by the legendary Stephen King. This is Pet Sematary. Yes, after tragedy strikes, a grieving father discovers an ancient burial ground behind his home with the power to raise the dead. Yes, Pet Sematary. Trenchy's all-time favorite. Looks like it also is Eric's all-time favorite. Cool enough. Trenchy, take me back in the time machine. Where, when, and what did you think of Pet Sematary when you first watched it? What kind of an impact did it leave on you?
Well, when I was growing up, my mom was into horror, and she had a lot of Stephen King. And actually, the first full-on horror movie I watched that wasn't like Beetlejuice or something was the original '90s It, which my uncle he put it on, and he said this is a funny movie, and he put in the first VHS for part 1, and then me and my brother were terrified, and we had to take shifts going to the bathroom and stuff because we thought this dude was gonna pop out of the sewers and eat us. And I just grew up with a lot of Stephen King like that, and like weird Stephen King. Like, I grew up with the miniseries Golden Years, The Langoliers, The Stand, and this was one of those movies, and it just hit me in a different way. It's such a, to me, it's the perfect horror film, in my opinion. I know everybody is gonna have their own opinion on that, but I just love it.
I do too, and I think that's a great point. This really is a grand horror film. You know, it covers a lot of different things. It covers, you know, the horrors of family, the horrors of loss, the horrors of grief, and you know, it has all of these elements. But I think it's very well grounded too. You know, and right off the bat, it just starts with a really good cast, in my opinion. I know he gets a lot of shit now, but I think Dale Midkiff as the lead does a really good job in this movie. You know, as the father. And of course, you know, everyone always remembers Fred Gwynn, of course, who was Herman Munster and the across the street neighbor. And,
Yeah.
you know, the whole accent, Lois, you better be staying off that road now, you see? I mean, he was he just gives this movie a different energy right off the bat. We were like, oh my God, it's fucking Fred Gwynn. Like, we're in good hands. Like, we're totally good. Denise Crosby is also in this film, of course, you know, longtime horror actress. And I don't know, I also always kind of remember Miko Hughes being in this because he was on everything when we were growing up. I mean, he was on Full House and New Nightmare he was in. He's in this movie, a really famous child actor from our youths. And I don't know, man, this movie, it's just really powerful in all the things that it's trying to say. And it really kind of lends the viewer and makes you ask yourself the question, well, if I did lose a loved one, if I did lose a pet, would I go up to the pet cemetery, bury it, and just to get it back? I really find that morbid question haunting about this film because it's something that maybe everyone kind of wonders if they had the power to do so, would they do it? You know, and what did you always think of that, man? What do you think of the whole morbid question that it poses the viewer this film?
Well, it hits me really hard, but not as a kid, but like I won't get too dark with this, but when I was little, I actually lost someone that was around the same age as Gage. I think actually younger. And when I was little, I couldn't really contemplate it or really like take it in because I was like little. But when I got older, and it's crazy because when I was younger watching the film, and when Lewis is doing the thing at the end with his wife, I'm like, you're a fucking moron. You're a dumbass. But then after growing up and really taking in that loss and really thinking about it, I was like, yeah, he's not dumb. He's just thinking emotionally. He's being human because I might do the same exact thing.
Exactly. So, and that's, you know, where people say, oh, someone's making a bad horror movie decision, whatever. I don't ever really look at it that way. To me, it's like, if you're not in that person's shoes, there's no way you can make that person's decision. Like, I'll be honest, the closest person I ever was with was my late grandmother. We were very, very close, you know? And, you know, if you told me, hey, if you bury her in the pet cemetery, she may just come back. I don't know. I think my first inkling would be, yeah, let me take her to the pet cemetery. I want to see her again. And then the whole point of this movie, you know, of Judd Crandall saying that, listen, they may look the same when they come back, but they're never going to be the same. And it's kind of a bitter way, I think, about the horrors of dealing with grief. And there's a lot of horror movies over the years that tackle it, but I don't think they tackle it quite as good as this movie right here. And I do think Mary Lambert, who, you know, there's a lot of controversy with the director's spot in this movie, and this is something we can get into a little bit before we touch upon the plot. There were two people before Mary Lambert that were selected. The first choice, good old George Romero, interesting enough. And the second choice, because Romero could not film due to Two Evil Eyes, Tom Savini. And Tom Savini did not decide to end up doing this. He ended up shooting Night of the Living Dead 1990. In steps Mary Lambert, and she hits a home run. But what do you think? Do you think that George Romero, Tom Savini, either of them would have made better choices here? Would they have made this movie better? Could they have possibly made decisions to make it worse? What do you think about that? Do you think either one of those would have been good choices? And what do you think their versions may have turned out to be like?
I don't know. It's hard because I can't see the movie any different than it already is. And I bet Romero wouldn't do, you know, because Romero's so good with that type of stuff. He deals with like zombies all the time. And this is kind of a zombie demon story in a way. He might, you know, it wouldn't have been bad, I think. And like Savini too, even though I think Savini would have like done more effects with it, like definitely effect heavy. And I don't know if the film needed that, but I wouldn't say they would be bad, but I think Mary Lambert, like you said, hit a home run. She fucking killed it. She understood the source material from like I think I've listened to the commentary, and I don't listen to many commentaries, but I've listened to the commentary on the film, and just the way she talks about the book and the way she talks about Stephen King, she understands the source material so well. She was even like, look at in the opening grave sequence, all the graves have like the little inscriptions straight out of the book, I guess. She
Yeah,
said those like little, yeah. So I think
yeah.
she killed it.
I think she did too. And I like, don't get me wrong, Romero's one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. And I love Tom Savini. I wish he had directed more. But I really do think this was her time to shine here. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not that she went on to do that much more. I do believe she did one of the Halloween Town movies, which is funny enough. That's movies that we grew up with as well.
Oh, gee.
I think she did Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge, which is my favorite.
Oh, the
Yeah.
best one. Even though I love Part 3, Part 3 is amazing.
Halloween Town High, yeah, I like the
Yeah.
first three. Okay, then when the one where they're in college, I don't like. What is
Oh
it?
yeah.
Return to Halloween Town, the fourth one. That one,
With the
that
mean like headers, witches.
yeah, and they had the girl from Last House on the Left remake in there. I'm like, oh man, this
Oh,
one,
Sarah Paxton, I
Sarah
think.
Paxton. That's right.
Yeah.
We got a couple comments. Mary Lambert got big directing music videos for Madonna. She was behind the camera. Yeah, hey, from Madonna to Gage and the Creeds and Judd Crandall, you gotta love it, man. That's how you work your way up. Deep Fried Awesomeness, aka Nate.
Hey,
Nate's in the
Nate.
house. Oh yeah, what's going on? Good little Macho Man in there. There was this TV series that Blaze Birdall, who plays Ellen Creed, was in called Ghost Rider. That was about these youngsters who helped solve mysteries. Where she played Lenny Fraser. That's interesting. I've not seen that. Hope I'm not too late. Great to see you all, though. How's it going, everybody? We're going good tonight. How about you, Trench?
Oh yeah, I'm good. It's good to see you, Nate.
Yeah, always good to see Nate. Fred Gwynn was also in the comedy series Car 54. Where are you? Rusty's in the house. Sup, Grande, Trench. Love both these. Original is a masterpiece. Second is highly underrated. We'll get to the second one. We
Hey,
definitely have some
Rusty.
interesting thoughts. Lewis has completely lost his mind by the end of the movie. No more rational thought.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why, people that bury the genre and say, oh, he should have known better. Man, you lose your child and your wife, then you tell me
Mm-hmm.
what you would have done. I just that's the thing. It's just you kind of shake your head at some of these people. It's like, God damn it, like I don't
Well,
know.
like this movie deals with a lot of like human nature if you think about it, because like you not only got grief of losing a child, but you also have like series of depression and PTSD with Rachel. The whole reason why like this story kind of happens is because Rachel can't get over her PTSD of what her parents did to her, leaving her alone with Zelda. And that's why she wants to shelter her kids from death and not have them go through the same traumatic thing she went through.
Exactly. And the way that Mary Lambert directs that scene in particular, because I wanted to make sure we mention this scene. It is one of the most haunting scenes in horror movie history, and to this day is the scariest thing in this movie for me. The sister Zelda, who was played by Man, right? They did all this
Yep.
open casting call for 13-year-old actresses. None of them quite had the right creepy, disturbing look. So fuck it. We will cast a skinny, looks like an anorexic man to be Zelda, the creepy sister, and just the way she moved her body, kind of contorted her body to really sell the pain and horror, and just almost verbally shaming her sister. That to me is some of the best fucking stuff in this movie. I mean, that is horror done right, in my opinion. What did you think of that scene?
Yeah. Oh, I love that scene. That's one of my favorite scenes of the movie because it's interesting because the it's like the evilness of the Indian burial ground itself is like bringing her nightmares to life, and it's crazy because both Gage and Zelda in that scene are wearing this weird blue dress that is in a painting in the grandparents' house. There's this weird painting of this weird looking child with a cat that looks like Church, and they're wearing the same dress. And it's kind of cool because, like, the movie kind of puts us in Rachel's position because we see Zelda and we're terrified of her, but she's not the real danger in that sequence. It's Gage. And it's like when Rachel snaps out of it and she sees Gage, she's all comforted, but we still know, like, no, this ain't right. This is still going to end badly, but she sees it as a comfort. So it's kind of it's interesting how they did that, like
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was
that
really
subversion.
smart to use someone's PTSD against them like that, and then to almost butter them up for their own death. And then, of course, her own son, who is reincarnated, takes her out. I thought that was all brilliantly done because it really did truly haunt her, her
Yeah.
past. And then when she saw, lost her son, it was all rushes back. And that horror, man, that is true real life horror. Granted, I haven't gone through anything that traumatic. If my fucking sister looked like that and was fucking taunting me, man, I don't know if I'd even be here. I'd probably be in a fucking padded room with the straitjacket on. That's some scary shit, in my opinion. But we definitely had a spotlight that scene. We got some more comments. Probably death gives definition to life by showing how precious and meaningful it can be by its shortness. An eternal life could probably give way to ennui and boredom, making life not valuable. Sure. All through it is not mentioned, but it is implied that Ellen has Ellie, yes, because she tells her that she had a dream that her cat was run over, and Judd. Yeah, that's right. Of course, the psychic element, Stephen King, same guy wrote Carrie. It makes sense. Judd is a villain in the movie. Okay, we gotta talk about this. If you think about it, he knows what will happen, yet still takes the family down the path. True, he's influenced, but the way he looks down that path, he knows better. What do you think about that, Trench? Is he a villain? I don't see it that way, but I want to hear what you think.
I don't think he's a villain, but I do agree with Eric on one thing. You have two harbingers in this movie. You have two harbingers. You have Judd and Pascal. And Judd, he's this nice old man, very kind, has this good sense of humor, wants to take Lewis under his under his arm as like a son, like under his wing, and like just very good character. But he's the one that brings them up to the Indian burial ground, and I feel like he is drawn to it because he's still there. Why is he still there after this place where his wife is dead, he's all alone up here in the middle of nowhere by this place where his dog came back to life and caused this horrible stuff, and this dude's son came back to life and they had to like burn the house down, and he's next to this great evil and he still stays there. And you could say like, one, it's maybe he's been there all his life, it's all he knows, and that could be a fact too, but I think the power keeps him there. And the power of the Indian burial ground, my opinion, still has a hold over Judd. And that's why Judd, even though he knows better, he brings Lewis up there, and he's like, you got to bury your own, and he puts Lewis through it. And that's why in the end, when Gage dies, he comes up to Lewis and he's like, Lewis, I killed your son. I think I killed your son because by bringing you up there, I released the power. Like I awakened, I brought new life in the power again, and it led to your son's death. So it's like Judd's like the angel in disguise. And even though I think he means well, he is part of the whole reason the shit goes down. And well, you got Pascal over here with his brains half sticking out, looking like all skinny and terrifying, but he's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to stop this thing throughout the whole movie, and he's never but kind and funny and just genuine. And Judd is too, but Judd, in the end of the day, I still think the burial ground has a hold over him. My bad, I went on a little rant there.
Dude, this is what the graveyard's for. Express yourself. I love it. I never thought of it this way, so I am thrilled you went there. I never thought of Judd as a villain in this movie. I do think you make a very fucking good point, and I never thought about this either. You're right. He's got to have that's got to have some kind of hold over him. Like, think about it when they introduce his character. I mean, he does, you must be standing off that road as they cross the street. And he shows them the little Pet Sematary, not the big one that we go on to see, but the little one. He's almost kind of like a little child, even though he's an old man. This is a place, LA, where the dead talk to each other. Well, not literally. And he almost is so like making it like it's a normal thing to show like I wouldn't take kids. I'm a nice guy, I like think I am. I wouldn't fucking take kids to a cemetery and try to explain shit to them. That's not. There's a time and age for that, and it's not either one of these kids' ages. I would say that. But with that being said, villain, I don't know. I definitely think he definitely has a soft spot for it, and he even tells the story about his dog Spot, which is funny. It was the dragon's name in the Munsters, so that was totally a nod to the Munsters, in which he played Herman. I don't know. I think that him showing him that whole thing was honestly just to get Ellie her cat back. Like, oh, we don't want her to learn about death this way. That was really the mistake. But I mean, to be honest, Lewis makes all the decisions his own. Like it's not it wasn't the Judd that brought Gage up there. It wasn't Judd that brought the wife up there. He showed him just to be like, hey, let's spare the crying and the oh, my cat's dead. I definitely think he meant well too. But yeah, maybe just like everyone else in this movie, though, he showed his human side. Like, we'll get to the funeral scene. That's a bunch of people acting like monsters, and that is a horrific scene, too. We're going to get there. We got a ton of comments, so let's run through these. Can't comment on the sequel or the remake, but I love this first one. It was so surprising, shocked me how great this was. Easily one of the best horror films I've ever watched. Completely agree with that. We got some other comments. Mary Lambert also directed season 1 of Final Tales from the Crypt called Pet Sematary, which also involved animals. Mary Lambert was friends with Dee Ramone. She gave him the book and asked him to write the ending theme. That is so cool. Collection completed. I would not have wanted anyone else to do this but her. She did it perfectly. Completely agree. I think Mary Lambert was the perfect choice, and I'm happy they went with her over a known name like a Savini or a Romero. I think Mary Lambert brings a special element to it. She gives it hate. I hate to use the word feminine touch, but in a good way. Okay. Let's see. No parent should ever go through losing their child. Not to go deep, but a lot of ways, I think that's how my grandpa died. He lost his daughter and then died. That's a broken heart. I'm sorry about that also, Ty. Zelda, the character that's scared a generation. Of course, Zelda's terrible. I read we got to run through these a little bit quicker here. It's oh my God, we have a ton of them. Geez, it's Zelda came back to life through Gage.
Oh, my bad.
No, not your bad. It's my bad. I can't keep up with them. It is influenced by Monkey's Paw. Okay. Let's see. Opening scene is very classic. I agree. It's a wonderful opening scene. I know you said the movie deal with grief. A grief for me also tell us not to fuck with the nature of things or you get fucked. Sure, that's definitely the moral of the movie. Part of me would have loved to see Savini for the effects. Yeah, but again, this is not really an effects movie. But I hear you for sure. I get anyone that said, "Oh, Romero," I get it because I love those two guys. But I do think Mary Lambert was the right choice, and I'm happy they went with someone who wasn't as established because she got her chance and she hit a home run. That's so cool. I wish everyone could get that same chance. Male, female, whatever. I think it's nice she got her chance. The theme song was covered for the animated remake of Frankenweenie. Pascal plays a serial killer, one of my favorite serial killer horror thrillers, The Bedroom Window. I've not seen that. Have you?
Oh no, but it sounds dope. I mean, I think you would do a good job.
Right? I think you'd be born for it. Britt's in the house. Hey team, Britt. Hope all is well. Actor who played Pascal played home like an angel, trying to keep Lewis. Yes, exactly. I would agree with that for sure. A Trenchy rant tonight. Woohoo! Miss C is all about it. What a perfect show. Yay, Grande and Trenchy. Dude, this is a combination right here. Maybe horror. Okay, I'm gonna stop with the comments here because we got to get a little bit more into this movie. I'm sorry, everyone. But let me ask you this: the sequence where the elephant in the room is, of course, the sequence where Gage gets killed.
Yes.
That to me is the best directed scene in this entire movie. Tell me when you first saw that. How shocked were you? And man. Like, what did you think of the whole sequence, even looking back all these years later?
Well, like when I was watching that, because I was a little kid, I can't remember exactly, but I don't think I had seen a child died in horror movies yet, because I had seen stuff like Children of the Corn and some other stuff where it looks like the children are going to die, but they don't. And then most of the children that do die are like, older. They're not like little like this. So you're just watching him fly the kite, and it's a very happy, nice scene. Everybody's hanging out. Judd's there. They're all
Yep,
having a good time. Yeah, it's all great. And then you're watching and you see he's getting distracted and you see, he's getting a little closer to the road and they keep cutting back to that dude who's just jamming out, having a good time in his truck. Everybody's having a good time. And then, it happens and you're just watching and you're like, oh shit, is he going to get him? Maybe he'll get him. Maybe, just maybe he'll get him. And then he falls and it's like, God damn it. Why'd you have to trip? Why does everybody have to trip? And then I love how they just showed the shoe going down the road and they cut to like the baby pictures and Lewis screaming. I thought that was so well done instead of like showing a mutilated baby, which, yeah, I don't think I would have been ready for that.
Savini probably would have went there. Savini probably would have went to show the mutilated kid. But like you said, you showed the heart of that kid. The little cute little shoe flipping over with just a little bit of blood on it, the baby pictures, and the scream from the father that really fucking sells it. No, just like that. It's not even a scream, it's like a wail. It's like oh my God, I'll never be the same again. And that horror drives home in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
It looks to me to this day, the sequence is so well shot. I mean, when they show the scene of the actual kid walking out and the truck's coming, you're like, holy shit, how did they edit that together to make it look this good, and then whammo. I mean, that is heartbreaking stuff. And then getting even into a step further, the funeral scene where of course, the in-laws, how could you let this happen? I knew this was going to happen under you. And the father-in-law punches our lead in the face, and
I hate that dude.
Knocks over the coffin, and you don't see the body, you just see his little hand.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that fucked me up. What about you?
That and the sad truth of it, that shit really happened. You'll have one asshole who will be like, this is all your fault. He died because of you. And even if it's a straight up accident, they'll be like, he died because of you. And I get it. Emotions are high. I get it. It's a sad time, but that was not fair to Lewis at all. I know I know a lot of people like the shit on Lewis, but Lewis tried his best as a father. I think he was doing the best with what he was given. He was a little out of it at times, but he was never mean. He always tried to comfort his wife when his wife was going through the shit and respect his wife. He was always trying to comfort Ellie when that was going down. He loved Gage. And I love how they showed like scenes with Gage before he died. They had a lot of just small little scenes showing you just how good the family was together and just them being a family before they destroyed the family essentially. And yeah, it's just like Lewis did not deserve that, and it's a horrible scene, and it just makes you hate that father even more. And like
he's just the biggest scumbag. You're like, God damn it. And I love the one friend, he goes, you got to keep yourself together, this is your son's funeral. And oh my God, like it's a really hard scene to watch. It's one of the harder scenes, and this has the movie full of hard scenes to watch. I definitely I think the acting in all these scenes really good. I mean, especially that one, just grief, and Denise Crosby just like fainting almost. It's heartbreaking. I just like this entire unsettling feeling that this movie makes you feel throughout. And it is dealing with death, this entire thing. It's really just that what makes it so uncomfortable. And there was a cool quote I wanted to get. The judge says, the soil of a man's heart is stonier. Lewis, a man grows what he can and he tends to it. But because what you buy is what you own, and what you own always comes home to you. I thought that was a nice little quote here, and kind of coming full circle with this is something that he owned, right? His son was his. That was his baby boy, and it was taken from him in an instant. And you give anyone the chance, hey, what if we could bring him back? I don't know if I wouldn't jump at that chance either. And we see you have to have some people in the chat that have children that feel this way. Let's see. I think we were, oh man, I don't know. I think we were here. The Gage scene was always inspired by Stephen King's little boy Owen running into the road and King saving his life before the truck hit him. Well, and to make it, put it in the movie, I mean, 200 IQ from Stephen King. Do you guys appreciate Pet Sematary now than you did when you first saw it in the past? What would you say to that, Trench?
I would say yes, especially since I got older with age. And the more I think about it, because like I said, I've had a similar situation, which I couldn't really contemplate as a child, but now I could contemplate more, and it really hits home. And I was actually kind of on the rewatch for the show. I was actually crying a little bit because it does get to me, and that's why I love it. It brings emotions out of me, and not just horror, but just like sadness, and it's just that it really does what a movie's supposed to do, in my opinion. It really gets emotions out of you, and yeah, it's just it's dark, but it's also kind of comforting in a way. It's weird to call this movie comforting when they're like babies are getting murdered and coming back from the dead, and they have to like put down cats, and this guy's got his brains hanging out, and like all this other shit. I know it's weird, but it is kind of comforting. Yeah.
It is. I agree with you. And I think you made a good point. This is a horror movie that ages like a fine wine because as you get older, yes, you do. Because I'll be honest, when you're 5 years old, you're not going to be able to, think about PTSD or things of grief, or you're a 5-year-old kid. You want to be entertained. With that being said, though, I believe we both saw this at a young age and it made an impact. So for what it's worth, this movie is not something that I wouldn't show to a kid. Granted, I would make sure they are cool with horror movies first, but I do think it's something that you appreciate more as an adult. The sequel to me is much more about being a kid and dealing with these things. That's why I think the whole point of the sequel is it's all about being a teenager dealing with all these themes of grief. This is how an adult does it in the original film. The sequel, it's more about how Eddie Furlong deals with it. So I don't know. That's kind of how I always thought about it. Where Pet Sematary 2 was definitely had more of those child themes.
Yeah.
This one is a real adult horror film. It's a horror film for adults. Brit's laughing. Get him. John Steele's in the house.
Hey, John.
More now as a parent. Yeah, exactly. You're a parent now. So I couldn't imagine how hard that scene is to watch. If you guys ever watch a trailer, it plays the theme to the original Amityville Horror. I never noticed that. And I love Amityville Horror. I respect any horror movie that has balls. Hardly any horror movie actually kills children, exception of Halloween 3 and Friday the 13th 3. And this goes there, man.
I would say the Blob remake. Don't leave out the Blob remake. That has one of the worst child deaths.
That is a good fucking point. I didn't even think of that, man. I love that movie. Blob from '88 is great.
Yeah.
It's so dark but so true. It's something you never forget. Exactly. It lives with you forever. That's what's horrific about it. I wonder if the book was therapeutic when King wrote it, referring to Eric's comment above. I think, it was a very scary book. I believe he said that it was the book he wrote that scared him the most, So I guess in that way, it's definitely has its power. King has made a lot of appearances in his movies. Of course, yeah, he's the pastor at the cemetery, which is kind of cool. It's super nostalgic. It really does age like fine wine. I could rewatch both so many times. Me too, Britt. Absolutely. I think it affects me more than when I first saw it, especially because those are very emotional funerals. Oh, 100%. Would you say it's comforting because you can approach by that tack that as an adult that what you are watching is fiction? What would you say? I guess that's more for you, Trench.
Damn, that's really smart, Brian. You're thinking more than I think. I guess I think that would be it, because it's just I understand that it is fiction. But I can't really explain to you why it's comforting. It's just sometimes it's weird to deal with dark places in real life. You gotta sometimes diving into fiction that covers that similar thing can be helpful. I know it's weird. It's like you're going through something in real life. Why would you want to deal with it in a fictional setting? But sometimes it helps. I can't explain why or how, but it does, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I think the sequel not only deals with grief, but also deals with bullying. Sure, a lot of themes of bullying. We'll get there.
Yeah.
I did not think about the Blob remake. Yeah. Go watch Suburbia from the 80s. A baby gets mauled by a dog. Wow.
It's awesome. Yeah.
So let's come full circle here. the finale of this movie. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think now I know initially they had planned a very much more bleak kind of like somber ending where it was just kind of be like, damn, like you'd feel kind of depressed leaving the theater. Instead, they sort of tone up the volume a little bit towards the end of this film and, you know, ended on the note they ended on. Do you like how this film ends? Do you think they maybe in an alternate world, parallel universe should have went with that lower ending? What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I always thought the ending was pretty fucked up and sad. It was fun, but it was also like it was depressing because you're watching like Lewis has found out he's lost everyone. His like the closest thing that for what we know that he has as a father figure just gone. His wife is gone, and he has to take out his son. He has to take out this little child, which would be easy if the child was just snarling and growling the whole time. But no, it's still talking like Gage. It's still like mimicking Gage's voice, and it is sad because especially when he's killing Church, it's kind of like he's taking all his anger out on Church. Like, this is your fault. If you didn't die, we wouldn't be in this fucking situation, you little bastard. Die, play dead, be dead. Like, and then he goes to kill Gage, and it's sad because it has to be personal. He has to like put this needle in his neck. It's not like he can just like turn away or shoot him or something or burn him or something and not see it. He has to look him kind of in the eyes while he's like killing his son again. And that ending where the little Gage comes out and he's like, not fair, not fair. And it's so sad. And it's still kind of funny too because he's still trying to put on his little growling tough act, which seems pretty childish, where he's like, before he dies. And then he falls over, and it's very childish and sad, but also a little funny.
I think, and playing with those tones somehow make it work. Like you could watch it and laugh, but you could also watch it and be like, and that I would be honest, the first time
it's
I
horrifying.
watched it, absolutely horrified. Slicing the Achilles tendon of Fred Gwynn, just oh my god!
Yeah.
Like, you had the size advantage on anybody, man. You could have played in the NBA. How big Fred Gwynn was, man. He's a big, tall man. And for Gage, just slice the oh my god, and then bites the neck like almost like a little vampire or something. Horrifying. And then of course
the tag team, man.
Yeah, tag team, right?
The Church and Gage.
Yo, that
people up.
Vince McMahon booking that. I mean, the Hart Foundation wouldn't have stood a chance. I love that. And then of course Denise Crosby comes running in and cagey, and gets her. And I love the way he finds his wife. She's hung and she has one shoe off. You get the idea she got fucking mangled. Like, you don't really see her getting mangled, but I think Mary Lambert did a good job just implying that she got fucking wrecked by this kid. Like, it's really like, damn, how the hell did he get her up there to fucking, it's really, it leaves a lot to your imagination. But you're right. And when he gets stabbed in the neck, the injection, no fair. It's like a brief moment of the old Gage shines as he kind of walks out. Oh, no fair. And he kind of, I can't play anymore. Kind of goes down. Horrifying, man.
Yeah.
And as he carrying his wife to the Pet Sematary.
Oh, yeah.
And Pascal, no, stop. I waited too long with Gage. Not this time. Of course, he's sitting in the kitchen playing with the cards. Denise Crosby walks in. They share a smooch. And then, of course, the knife raises up. Bam, play the Ramones. I quite like the ending. I think it gives a really wow ending to this. But I won't lie. I think in another world, I would have definitely liked to see the alternate ending. They did shoot an alternate ending and test screened it. Apparently, it got bad reviews, the test screening, and thus that footage is now lost forever. But in another world, I definitely would have liked to see that alternate ending. But I do think the ending on its own, some people say it gets tacky, over the top. I think it's horror done right. It's violent, it's psychological, it's horrific, it has some funny elements, but it's all together kind of directed really well. And I think, man, it caps off a perfect horror movie. For me, it's a 10 out of 10. What would you rate this one, man?
I agree. Like, I agree. For me, it's a 10. It's a 10 out of 10 as well, because for me, it's the perfect horror film in my opinion, and it's my third favorite film of all time, out of just films in general. And I think because it's like it has so many elements. Like you have the fictional elements of like the fictional horrors of like you got some body horror in there, you got some slasher at the end, you have the ghost story, you got the folk tale horror with the Indian burial ground, you got kind of zombie slash demonic possession. You got so many different types of horror meshed into one to coherently make one story. And then you have the real life horrors of
Uh-oh. Trenchy, can you hear me? Can anyone in the chat hear Trenchy? I lost him. Are we still here? Oh, no. Sometimes dead is better. I don't know. Anyone in the chat, can you all hear Trench? I don't know. Maybe y'all lost me? Hope you didn't lose me. Oh, shit. Okay. All right. He'll be back. I guess we can get to comments now. I'm sorry that I thought it was my Wi-Fi for a minute, but we're okay. We'll go here until Trench comes back. I love the ending. Okay, he's got the link, so he'll come back. I love the ending. Lewis isn't just kissing Rachel. He full makes out with her, so distracted that he doesn't even see with the knife, and then he jumps back to Dale Midkiff's amazing scream. Yes, gotta love it. Maybe Church can't accept dealing with death, and that's what he needs to do and move on. Of course, it's never easy to deal with death. Yeah, no, of course not. If you ever watched the original Frankenweenie, the character of Victor Frankenstein refuses to accept his dog's death, and so he brings him back to life. Well, you gotta love Frankenweenie. I love how Judd's house is slowly, physically changing inside at the end of the movie. Smoke, moss, lots of disgusting things. Exactly. It's almost like it's becoming its own fucking pet cemetery, which is brilliant. Human cemetery. I think he's back. Let's see. Trench! Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hey, I hear you, buddy. Can you hear me?
Oh god damn it, I still can't hear you. This always happens. 1 second.
All right, no worries. I'm gonna go through the comments. Ben Grimm says 5 out of 5. Ben, I agree. I would give it a 10 out of 10 personally. It was a short live action film. Kubrick. Would Fred Gwynn be possessed by Native American spirits? Let's hope not. I lost him too. Our pictures. I hear you, Grande, but not Trenchy. Okay, Trenchy's just trying to. He couldn't hear me, but we could hear him when he came back, so he'll be back. No worries. Sometimes he breaks off. He'll come back for a second. Okay, you know the routine. Fred Gwynn's character Judd sounds like the judge because 3 years later he played the judge. Yeah, and that was one of his last films. May he rest in peace, Fred Gwynn. There he is. Well, it was a brief cameo. Mateo says, did Pet Sematary have a remake or not? It did, and we left the ball in Trenchy's court if he wanted to discuss this. I've never seen it. He has, apparently, but remaking his all-time favorite horror film, he was kind of I didn't bother. And when he said not to, I said not to too. Here he is. Can you hear me now, Trench?
Oh yeah, my bad. I don't know what happened.
No worries at all, my friend. I was just reading comments. But you can hear me now. We're good.
Yeah, sometimes my internet does that. I'm sorry.
Dude,
I was just afraid it went out because sometimes it will go out and I'll be like on midstream and stuff, and then the internet will be out and I just can't get back in.
Sometimes dead is better. I don't know. It would have been for a reason. It had a remake. I really liked it. Eric liked the remake. I didn't bother. Honestly, when Trent said I don't have to watch the remake, I said deal. He has problems with the internet sometimes. Okay, no worries. Okay, so we're gonna get into Pet Sematary Part 2 just in a second. I saw the remake opening night, left the theater really happy, and the original is my favorite all-time horror film. I felt that way with Dawn of the Dead, because the original is my all-time favorite movie. And when I saw the remake, I thought there's no way you can remake this. And I really quite liked the remake. So I definitely see where you're coming from, Eric. So that's a good. Trench has resurrected. Yes, resurrected. He was buried in the Pet Cemetery. It's a different Trench we're gonna get for Pet Cemetery 2. Mary Lambert's career is strange. She went from making 10 out of 10 horror movies to Disney Channel original movies like Halloween Town 2 and Urban Legend 3. Halloween Town 2 I quite like. But it's a hard business, man. it's not like you're always going to be handed out jobs. Remake was ass. Okay. We have one opinion and the other on the remake. Before we get into the sequel, though, which is going to be the last one we discussed tonight, I've got a little cool thing I'm going to share with you all right now. A brief self-plug. I rarely do this, but Grande's Graveyard is going to be debuting a t-shirt design. Yes, I'm going to order them tomorrow morning. So if you want one, you're going to have to speak now or forever hold your goddamn peace. I'm going to share the screen here, and so you guys can see the design of Grande's Graveyard's upcoming t-shirt. If you want one, I can add it to the cart. Yes, this is the Grande's Graveyard t-shirt design. My good buddy Matt went ahead and actually did this nice little design for me. So shout out to Matt. He also did my logo, all these things. So we're going to be selling these. Right now, I've got about 18 to 19 buyers, probably going to order like 25. If anyone else wants one, comment down in the chat. Let me know your size, and I'll review it tomorrow morning, and I'm going to place the order for all of these awesome, voluptuous t-shirts. So if you want to be rocking in the Grande's Graveyard apparel, you can be doing so very, very soon. So if you guys want any of this, let me know. If not, no worries. I know money is tight. I don't know how much I'm going to be selling them for yet because, honestly, it depends on how many I order. That's going to change the price. The more I order, the cheaper they'll be. So the more, the fucking merrier, my friend. But yeah, that is going to just be the t-shirt. Sorry, I just want to do the shameless self-plug really quick. If people are interested, let me know.
Oh, no, it's dope.
You like it? I know somebody said they were going to treat you to one. I don't know if we're going to say his name, but I believe he's going to hook you up with one once you hit him up with your size.
Yeah, I got to talk to him. Like, I'm very weird with, like, accepting gifts. I'm very bad at it.
Oh, I got a text from my friend Frankie. He just said, I want one for free. Frankie, you got to pay. You got to pay. What size are you, man? You let me know. I'll get you one. Frankie's texting me. God damn it. He wants a free one. Quick comments. Let's see. What did you say, Trench? I didn't hear anything you said the whole stream. Haha. Oh, no. We heard Trench the whole stream. Just a minute or two. Pet Sematary 2 was like text Chase. I'm asking you. That's a fucking good point. Yeah, it really is. Send it. Okay, Steele, if you want a t-shirt, let me know your size, man. Tomorrow we're going to be ordering them, so that's the last day to really tell me. Hey, Trench, how was Pet Sematary? Did you resurrect Fred for us? I mean, I don't know. That would be for you, I guess. But we are going to dive in to the sequel, which took place 3 years later, of course. This was in the year 1992. They got Mary Lambert back to direct this movie. This is Pet Sematary 2. Yes, a teenage boy and his father moved to his recently deceased mother's hometown, where they encounter an ancient Native American cemetery with the power to raise the dead. Pet Sematary 2. This is a horse of a different fucking color, man. What do you think of this movie? What were maybe your initial thoughts? Because I know you said you only watched this twice. Give me your initial thoughts and then current thoughts. What do you think about this movie? Just a raw, brief, what do you think?
So I avoided this movie for the longest time because I was like, they made a sequel to Pet Sematary, and Edward Furlong is in it. It's like I don't know about this. Like I love the first one so much, but then my mom had me watch the remake, which I do not. It had potential, which makes me just get upset about it the most. I think it had potential, but for me, it squandered that potential, and then I was like, okay, if I can do the remake, I can watch part 2. So I watched it like a year ago for the first time on Netflix, and I was like, this is okay. I don't know if I'll watch this again. But then I ended up doing the show, and I watched it again, and I kind of liked it a little more this time around. I don't love it, but I kind of understand it more. I get that, like Eric said, it's like Texas Chainsaw 2. It's not trying to be the original. It's just being a silly kind of fun movie, although I do think it takes the name a little too literally, because it's like we're Pet Sematary. Look, dead kittens. Look, rabbits being skinned alive. Look. It's like, God damn it, that's not what the point is.
It's over the top. It's really fucking over the top, and over the top no more than fucking Clancy Brown. I mean, Clancy Brown is Gus. is the most crazy over the top character in any fucking movie. I mean, he is absolutely nuts in this. True body, get back to home, back to your room. He's absolutely crazy in this. The first time I watched this movie, I remember being really excited because I didn't have any preconceived notion or anyone had said, oh, don't watch the sequel. A lot of movies in my life, you'll have people that before you watch it, they'll warn you one way or the other. Like, oh, it's great. You got to watch it right now. Or, oh, it's the worst thing ever. This was a movie I just went in raw. I didn't know anything. I didn't hear anyone's opinion on it. I just walked in and watched it. And I was quite blown away because I was like, how did the same person direct this movie? Like, it feels nothing like the original movie at all. Not tonally. It just feels like somebody else was at the helm of this thing. But no, this was Mary Lambert's child. And basically, when they interviewed her, they asked her about this. They said, hey, why is this such a different tone? And she said, listen, the first one, it's really about a father that loses his son and, how he deals with grief. She says, this one, it's a teenager. And he's going to do some dumb teenage things, and that's basically where I based doing this entire movie. It has to be noted that it was written by Richard Otten, who only wrote like 2 other things. He wrote one of the Rescuers Down Under movies, which bizarre, or Little Nemo movies. Just weird. The guy didn't really go on to write too much. So interesting. I mean, Stephen King had his name removed from this. There's no Stephen King, so he hated this fucking movie. I don't know. I would agree, though, with Eric saying that this is really more of a black comedy. It brings back some of the same themes, and it goes a lot way, way, way over the top with them. But I don't think that's to say that this is a movie that I have a hard time watching. I do think on its own 2 legs, it's quite entertaining. I don't think this is a boring film at all. I think Eddie Furlong, of course, he was introduced in 1991 with Terminator 2, turn around the next year, his second film, Pet Sematary 2, and I think he does a decent enough job in the lead. The movie opens up with, I always found this death to be hilarious, and maybe that's the whole difference of part 1 and part 2, where his mother gets electrocuted by a fucking she's like an actress on the set of a TV show or something, and like she gets electrocuted by the fence, and I don't know why. I always found that fucking hilarious. I guess I'm horrible, but did you find that funny at all?
I wouldn't say I found it funny, but it is just like, it's just like, okay, damn, we're starting the movie off like this. Like, and it really sets you up for the rest of the movie because you just expect some like crazy shit.
Yeah, and it's really like, I will say, like, they do some of the things where Eddie Furlong scream, "Mom!" That's sad.
Yeah.
But the way, like, it's almost like more of a Final Destination death than it is a fucking Pet Sematary death. Like, it's not at all like the first film where Gage gets hit by the truck. That's horrifying. That's like, oh my God.
Because it's real.
To me, it's like she's like, ah! And the fucking whole place is like going crazy. Everyone's like, "Get the fuck off the stage!" Everybody's running. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is right off the bat. The tone is like, okay, what the fuck are we doing here, man? Very weird stuff. Let's go to the chat for a couple minutes here. I think we were here. Grande, you should totally watch Pet Sematary remake. It would probably be your most epic rant to date. Really? I don't know about that. No way it could be worse than like Scream 5 and shit. You'll take a t-shirt in a 14X. Well, they don't do that size, buddy. But if you wanted one, let me know. I saw the sequel in theaters with my parents and younger brother. Let's just say the dream sequence with the dog and Anthony Edwards is pretty awesome.
Oh my God.
Nothing like fucking a dog. I don't know. Trench, film like Pet Sematary are your babies, so I guess why you wouldn't like a remake. Exactly, yeah, and that goes for anybody. If your favorite film gets remade, it's right off the bat, you're instantly like, no. When you know what you're getting into, it's easier to process and enjoy. Clancy Brown is fun and knew what he was starring in. Yes, that's true. Clancy Brown knows what movie he's in. I would dare to say, though, that everyone else doesn't. Like, Eddie Furlong, serious. Eddie Furlong's friend, serious. Yeah. Anthony Edwards, serious. Everyone else is serious except Clancy Brown. Clancy Brown really makes this, like, a bizarre experience, but he's so fun in it.
Yeah, I just wish they gave him better one-liners, because when, like, some of his one-liners work, like, is like, I was making a doggy door, or, like, it's like, no brain, no pain. Like, those are good, but then some of the other ones are just not as good. And but when he's not talking, like when he's driving the car and he's putting on his sheriff hat, like, I'm the sheriff, that was great.
The funniest scene in this whole movie is they're all sitting down for dinner, And
Yes.
they're Eddie Furlong's here, Clancy's in the middle, and the other kid who he only acted in this, the overweight friend. They're all
Yeah,
sitting.
Drew.
Yeah, Drew, and Clancy Brown's eating dinner, and the food just starts hanging out of his mouth. His neck is like bleeding, and all of a sudden he looks at the two of them and he just starts laughing. And they both look
Yeah.
scared at first. Eddie Furlong starts laughing, and then fucking the other friend starts laughing, and all three of them are just laughing at the table for no fucking reason. It
Yeah.
is hilarious. Like every time I watch it, it's contagious laughter. And I think that's the whole point of the scene. It's just like it's contagious. They're all just laughing about nothing as all this gross food is pouring out of Clancy's mouth.
Yeah.
Slams the table. Like I rewatched it 2 nights ago. Hysterical laughing. Like that scene, epic, man. That is some
Yeah.
funny.
I will say I kind of took away a little something different from that scene. Like it's funny, but it's also like it kind of shows how people can flip on a dime, because I've been in situations where it'd be kind of like a little bit of tension, but then this person would like flip and break the ice and it would be fun and you're all having a fun time, and then just on a dime it flips again back to like scary tension and shit, and it's like, yeah, I've seen that shit. That shit's real.
That goes to show you the power of as an actor that Clancy has. And, another actor that I always say that could do that would be a David Hess. You watch David Hess and in the original Last House on the Left, how he's kind of being friendly at first. Like, oh, hey, girls, you're looking for a nice night? It's something he's up to no good. But when he turns, I mean, he is the most evil son of a bitch. Same with House on the Edge of the Park. At first, he's there to boogie. And, he's having a good time. And then when he realizes they're fucking over his friend, making fun of his friend, bam, he changes and just absolutely just goes apeshit. I mean, it's scary. Pet Sematary 2, thought being opposite was being creative. Boy replaces girl, parent comes back, now child, and dog instead of cat. Yeah, no, it does change, the weird stuff. I don't know. It's definitely not a creative film. It's definitely just an oddity. I consider this movie an oddity. I don't think it's necessarily bad or good. It's odd. I want to know what happened to Jared Rustin. I loved him. Oh, of course. I always remember him from Big as the best friend. Only TV stuff after this, and then he just retired. I've seen pictures of him now. It looks totally different, but I love Jared Rustin, and he plays the big bully in this movie, that's kind of bullying Eddie Furlong and stuff like this. He has the fucking craziest death in this movie to me. One of the most mean-spirited kills I've seen. That's the thing with this movie, man. It's fucking mean-spirited. Like,
oh, yes.
You have fucking the dog, Sowie, it's barking, and then Clancy Brown just goes outside and shoots the fucking dog.
Yeah.
Who does that, man? Like, I was like, Clancy, what the hell? You don't go there and shoot a fucking dog because it's barking. Like, where's Paulie Walnuts at? Was it barking? That's fucking just bizarre. But yeah. That Jared Rustin death is fantastic. June being June. Yeah. Clancy Brown is like the chop top of this movie. Sure. Drew Daddy's not done is my favorite line from Clancy. He yells it after jumping from the coat of the heart. Yeah, no, that scene is unintentionally funny too. They were having a hard time keeping a straight face when they were shooting that scene at the table. No, that's intentionally. They're just bursting out laughing. It's a funny scene. Clancy's character was like an undead Kurgan. There can be only one.
Oh my God.
That's a good way to put it, man. Now, let me ask you this. The first film, it deals with all these themes of grief for an adult, right? We watched that movie through Louis Creed's eyes. Do you think, even Tom was mentioning they switched the dog to a cat to the dog and the boy to a girl, blah, 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 blah. The main thing they did also change was adult to a child. The lead is Edward Furlong in this movie. Do you think that was an interesting idea? Do you think it was fully realized on its potential, or do you think they missed something here?
Like, I think it's a cool idea, and I do, like I said, I think they could have, like, maybe done a little better with it, but, like, I think they could have maybe captured it a little better, and maybe, who knows, if I saw this as a kid, maybe I would like it more, because maybe I'd be able to relate more, who knows, but, I do feel like it's, like, there's something about how, like, halfway through the movie, Edward Furlong just turns kind of evil, and I get it, like, it just, like, out of nowhere is all creepy, and he's like, I'm keeping the dresses for mom and stuff, and it's like, where did this come from? I mean, I get it, he lost his friend, his only friend, he's losing everybody, but it just seemed kind of drastic, and maybe that's what they were going for. Like in childhood, shit can like like you make crazy choices and you're still developing and going through all this stuff, and that could change you. But
And
it just felt weird.
maybe it's more traumatic as a child, right? Because we see Louis
Yeah.
Creed turn in the original film, but here we see this nice kid who loved his mom. He's visiting her on the set of the movie. She dies. He's a
Hmm.
nice kid when we are introduced to him, and then, like you said, as it goes on, he progressively turns and then really goes full dark. My mom is dead, but she doesn't have to be. That's actually my favorite
Yeah.
line of the whole movie. She doesn't have to be. Like, I love that. The way he's looking at it now, like I could bring her back, and I think
Yeah.
it's actually a very interesting take and idea. I just think the tone is very off if you were going for that
Oh yeah.
movie. That's really where she misses on the potential to make it as strong as and impactful as the original film. But in my
Hmm.
opinion, man, I don't know if you could have really done that again. Do you think that she could have
Oh.
possibly recaptured that lightning in a bottle? Because I don't think she could have.
No, I think I think Eric again hit the nail on the head with the Texas Chainsaw situation. You weren't going to be able to recapture that, no matter how hard you tried. The casting was perfect in a way, just the atmosphere and just how much horror elements were put into that original, both real and fictional. Like I was saying earlier, it's just that movie in my eyes is like it's a perfect horror film, and this is just more fun and goofy and just kind of like out there, because my favorite scene in the movie is not even like a horror scene.
What
Like
scene?
it's the scene where the bullies have the cat and they're riding with the cat and that like song's playing, and the bully holds out the cat and he looks at the cat and he's like, "Are you having fun yet?" And the cat goes, "No." The cat literally says no in cat language. It sounds like it's saying really no, and I found that hilarious. Like even the first time around, I'm like, "That's great."
No, it's really, another thing too about this movie is it's the difference between the 80s and the 90s. Like the first movie,
Yes.
even though it's 89, it's very 1980s, whereas this movie, it feels like the grunge era is about to
Oh my god.
start. It's a night and day difference. And it's just the oddest thing is that the same person made it. That's why it's like, I'm
Yeah.
watching, I'm like, there's no fucking way, unless she had a brain aneurysm in between these three fucking movies, that the same person directed this. I to this day don't understand it. But
Yeah.
she said it herself. She said, "This is just I wanted to do it through the eyes of a teenage boy and what he would do." They really go over the top with it. But you're right. I mean, there's a lot of humor in there. I will say that some of the death scenes are quite hilarious. There's the one with the boy and his mother that are running from Clancy Brown. He basically drives them into.
Yes.
I don't know why I find it seem funny.
The potato truck, man, a random potato fucking truck.
It's
Like what the fuck?
I don't know, man. It's just bizarre. It's really, really bizarre. I can't. And just like some of the shit with Clancy Brown, like having like sex with the wife, like after he's been turned. And
Oh.
he's like, "No, you smell horrible. Don't." Like, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's not uncomfortable. It's like you just laugh. Like, what in the hell am I watching? Like, this movie just jumps
Like,
all over the place.
it's weird because I kind of like how in this one they're not immediately jumping to murder. Like in the original, they came back and like Gage, yeah, he didn't murder Lewis, but he immediately went across the street and started murdering Judd and Rachel and stuff. But in this movie, it kind of seems at first Gus is being nice to the kid for like once in his life. Gus is being nice, and it's a little confusing and weird, but I kind of like it. And I think, like I was telling you backstage, I think the remake kind of took from this, and I think the remake could have done an interesting thing with that if they had like actually went through with it, but I don't feel like they capitalized it right. This didn't really either, but it was this was more of a fun movie.
I agree completely. There's a lot of missed potential here. Like, you really probably could have made a great sequel where people go, "Man, that Pet Sematary too." I don't look at it that way, but I don't look at it as like one of the worst sequels ever either. Like, there's some people that will tell you this is like a abomination. I don't see no way in hell do I see this movie as that bad. I think it's entertaining enough to on its own to just be okay. This is solid enough. We got a couple comments. Clancy Brown was also in the first season of the TV series Sleepy Hollow. Great stream. So happy I was able to finally make one. Dude, Eric, thank you so much for joining. I had to set a reminder of seeing Grande's Instagram post. Dude, thank you so much. I'm happy that we could do justice to your favorite horror film. I've always wanted King to actually write a sequel like he did with Dr. Sleep to The Shining. Maybe find out what happened to Ellie. I know that he got his name removed from this movie. So he was not for it. I don't know if it was for he didn't like the other guy's screenplay or he just didn't feel that you could do a sequel. Either way, I don't really blame Stephen King.
I hate what they did to Ellie in this movie. I do not like.
Garbage.
Yeah,
we'll get into that. I always thought it would be interesting to find them in a third one in the late 90s. Dealing with senior citizens losing a war buddy, and you get, oh my God, you get The Odd Couple. Could you imagine? That would be, and get Mary Lambert in her full Disney Channel original movie directing days. That would be fun. It should have went full Bruce Campbell style slapstick and made a comedy with the dark side. Do you agree with that?
I don't know, maybe, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't fully like this movie, but I do think it came out decent. It could have been way worse. But I don't know. That might have been fun. But I don't know if I would be able to accept it or hate it. I don't know. But I think it was okay what they did. Although I do agree. I think they could have gave Gus better one-liners, and I think they could have gone a little bit with it. But they did have some crazy shit by always putting the dog's head on the mom for some reason. Like they're. Yeah, they did that quite a bit.
Crazy shit, like skinning the rabbits, a dog sex scene. Like, you know, it does have its fair share of like, what the fuck? You know, family getting driven off the road, driving into a fucking potato truck. The mom getting killed at the beginning, and then for some reason, I was gonna lead up this finale, but I guess we can get here right now. The finale of this movie. What in the fuck? I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
The mom gets resurrected. She looks perfectly fine. And then for some reason, Jared Rustin comes in, the bully. He's fighting Eddie Furlong. The dad is the damsel in distress here. And the mom just decides, I'm going to fucking burn the house down. And she starts melting. Like, what the fuck? Why does this bitch start melting? I couldn't tell you. Like, what? I don't understand. Do you understand? This ending makes no sense to me.
No, and somehow the bully's back, which I'd be fine with because they're like, oh, Gus went and buried him. But the thing is, it's not like Nightmare 2 where they didn't like establish, they established there wasn't the same rules as the first one. This film, they established same rules. They even had to have Edward Furlong bury his own mom to bring her back to life. Gus had to like get him to come with him and stuff.
And Drew had to bury Sally.
Yeah, Drew had to bury Zowie, but somehow Gus is able to bury the bully that he has no relation to, unless if that was somehow hinted in the film when the bully was like, you can't touch me, Gus, like what are you doing, Gus, come on, like if that was supposed to be relation that maybe they were distant cousins, I don't know, but like, yeah, Gus can somehow bury the bully, and the bully can come back even though they're not related that we know of, unless it was somehow snuck into the film that it was. We were supposed to figure it out, but I don't know. They break their own rules.
Yeah, the rules sort of went out the window here with that part. I don't understand, and I don't understand why the fuck the mom's melting. I'll never get that. That scene where Drew talks about nice dead Gus always gets me to crack up, and he made me a huge plate of pancakes. No, absolutely. I think that the story of Ellie in part 2 is only half truth. I think she did lose her mind, but the killing of her grandparents was just a part of Clyde's ghost story. I thought that was garbage. What did you think, Trench?
I did not like it because I like Ellie, and I know people might dog on the girl's acting, but I think she did a good job, and I think she was one of the hearts of the first movie because a lot of those conversations she had with Lewis are so sad and so real that she's really the heart of that. She was one of the heart of that first movie along with Judd and Pascal, and yeah.
Yeah, I hate when sequels do that. Like they do it quite often, where it's like, oh, forget that, because it's the one tie you have to like for people. Oh, what happened to her? I hate when sequels do that. The ending shot with
Yeah.
all the faces, it
Oh
is
my
made
god.
so Scream. It's so like CW11, but
Why is Gus there?
I
Why is
don't know.
Gus? Yeah, Gus was supposedly horrible. Nobody liked Gus.
I will say the one interesting idea, which they don't really go far enough with, is the fact that he was a piece of shit before he died. And at first he was
Yeah.
nicer. It would be interesting if you were a piece of shit and buried in the pet cemetery, if you came back as like a really good person. And then you could have like this whole movie where people are just killing off these pieces of shit and they come back as good people. Like that to me would be a much more interesting sequel than what we got. But I don't know, maybe a little
Oh
bit far.
yeah.
One of the classic Stephen King movies is that deals with bullying is Stand By Me. Of course, I love Stand By
Yeah.
Me, and of course, can't forget Carrie. I think the melting was supposed to be the wax reconstruction makeup done by the mortuary. Oh, okay. I didn't catch that. I just always just was
Me
fucking
neither.
like she just like. But also, why did she start the fire? Like, why? Like, what?
Well, it's weird because it's like I don't know because the thing is she had Edward Furlong on her side too, but then she starts laughing when the bully comes in and starting to kill him, which I get it. She's evil, but then she's like at the end she's like, why can't we be mother and son again? Don't you still love me? It's like, well, you were laughing when he was about to die. Like, what
Yeah,
did you expect?
it makes no sense. And then you just decided, fuck it, I'm gonna burn down my own house. Like what? Like what?
Oh,
I don't understand what. To this day, will never understand why she just gets up and she's like, I'm gonna burn this. It's like Harold and Kumar going to
this
White Castle. Come on, Pookie, let's burn this motherfucker down.
yeah,
Burn
dude, the
down
maid. That fucking maid they have in the movie that's supposed to be like a love interest for the dad, that's supposed to be like this innocent maid, but then the kid she's supposed to be looking after is missing. But instead of like going to find him, she starts putting on the dead mom's dress and is like in front of the mirror, and I'm like, what the fuck? I just lost all sympathy for this character that I was supposed to have. Like,
Yeah,
what the fuck?
it's odd. Like, what is she? She's like, oh, I'm gonna play dress up, and then she's like, you're wearing my fucking dress, bitch. And I'm like, oh shit! Like, this movie just really fucking just. I think this is one of those movies that had a lot of ideas. I just threw them up at the ceiling and shit hit the fan. Like, I really believe that.
Yeah.
But it
Which
not in
is
a bad
weird
way.
because
Uh-huh.
the original Pet Sematary kind of does that too, with all the different layers, like the body horror, the zombie, the slasher section, the demonic possession, like ghost story, all of that. It has all of that, and it has all like the real life horrors as well, but it mixes it so well. This, not so much, but it's still fun, but not
Yeah.
so much.
Not so much. Definitely not. Documentary talks about the making of the original. Maybe those bury your own rules don't apply to the zombies. I guess not. I don't know. Maybe the ending of the film was having a filmmakers being told what to do with the script. No. So from what I've read in my research is that this movie went through an insane amount of rewrites. And one of the people that actually rewrote this was, oh my god, what's his damn name? He wrote The Dark Knight. Oh my god, what's his fucking name? I have to look it up. I'm sorry, I have to cheat a little bit here.
Oh, you're good. I don't even know. I don't keep track of screenwriters and stuff.
David S. Goyer. I'm sorry, I just drew a blank. David S. Goyer wrote rewrites of this film. And he's wrote part of The Dark Knight, but he's also the same guy that wrote Demonic Toys versus fucking Puppet Masters. So I don't know. Maybe he had something to do with this. I couldn't tell you. I would think this was just a writer's fucking shit show where Richard Otten, he didn't get a lot of chances. And this was one of his only chances, and he just fucking went for it. The only issue is he just like really went all over the place and missed out on some, possible potential. The documentary is good. Grande, that sounds like a great idea for a horror comedy film to have mean people resurrect to come back as good people. Hey, man, maybe I don't know. I think it's a good idea. She started the fire because dead is better. No use looking logic in this one, boys. LOL. You really think that's why? I mean, but she was already dead and brought back. So does that mean that all the people that are brought back just want to kill themselves again? Like that doesn't make any sense. Was she supposed to get out of the fire? Like, she didn't make any effort to leave. She's just chilling in there. Like, I don't know. I think the ending is a fucking mess. I really do. Like, I never understood the ending. It's melting like the Wicked Witch. I mean, it's weird. You would
I
have to.
do love the part with Gus though. Oh, my bad.
No, you're good. Yeah, no, the part with Gus is fun. Where, by the
Yeah.
way, yeah, Billy Joe asked Billy Joe who started the fire. Where he walks in. What the hell are you doing? I was making a doggy door after he
Yeah.
kills Sally. I thought that was
Yeah.
funny, man.
Yeah, and I love how after he finished off Gus, which is so funny because there's not enough bullets in the gun till the final bullet, and Gus dies, and then he goes outside the house, and then he's like, "Fuck it," and he goes back in, and you just hear 6 or 7 more shots, and then he comes out and he's like, "Now it's done."
Yeah, it's fucking out there. Like, it's really just a weird movie all around. Like, there are some things, and I will say this: like, as much as funny as this movie is, the one sequence of horror that I found actually scary upon every time I've watched it is when Jared Rustin dies. What happens is he's bullying Eddie Furlong. He knocks him down, and then he threatens to take his nose off with the spokes on his wheel. Basically, Gus comes in, punches fucking Jared Rustin, and then is putting his like dirt bike in his face. And the dirt bike gets caught in the thing, and it just like,
Yeah.
and it's gory as fuck. To me, that is the mean spirited kill. He's like, I'm a kid, you can't kill me. And without missing a beat, he does it. And it's quite graphic. I mean, I think that is a horrific scene in this movie where it's one I don't laugh at. Maybe other people would, but I thought that
I do.
Okay, but I thought that was, I was watching, I was like, that's a fucking sick death. Like, that's a
Yeah.
sick video. But
It is brutal, but I love how he's like, "I'm just fucking with you. I'm just
just fucking with you." Yeah, no, don't fuck with Gus, man. Gus will kill your ass. Yeah, no, and Junebug and Brian are talking here. Maybe the rewriting was a rush job. It's possible. They did have 3 years in between, so I don't know how much it could have been a rush. I wonder if they were embarrassed how the film turned out. They were definitely not happy that it didn't make a lot of money. So the original Pet Sematary was made for 11.5 million, grossed about 89.5 million. Huge hit, smash hit, the last great hit of the 1980s. And then this film comes out in 1992, was made on the budget for 8 million, made about 17.1. Usually a good profit is your money times 2. So it made its profit plus another million. I mean, it's generally hated. It gets generally negative reviews. It's very rare that I've met someone who likes this movie. I don't know if I've ever met anyone who likes it more than the original film. But maybe somewhere out there is.
Good for them. Good for them, I guess. All power to them.
Sure, all the power to them. I would agree. And they put it under the rug when people mention it. There is a special edition of it out. I don't own it. But I don't know. Maybe some interviews would be interesting to hear what the cast thinks all these years later. I'm sure I would love to see Clancy Brown if they got him to do an interview. I would in a heartbeat want to watch that.
Clancy has an interesting career because I was like, when I was watching it for the first time, I'm like, that's Lex Luthor from Superman, the cartoon. And then also I found out he's Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob. So I'm like, what the fuck?
And what I grew up, and I don't know if you played these games on the PS1, the Crash Bandicoot games, he's Neo Cortex.
Yeah.
He's the villain.
He's the yellow guy with the oh shit.
That's Clancy Brown, the evil laugh. When he's laughing at the table in this film, it's so Cortex. It's funny, Cortex was 6 years later when he did, Crash 2 and Crash 3. He's Neo Cortex, funny enough. And I thought he did a great job. I really did. Yeah, it's crazy. He's Mr. Krabs, going full circle with our childhoods. Crash, Mr. Krabs, and, of course, the good old Gus. Why did you ever dig up my wife, Gus? Because I wanted to fuck her. Clancy was so much fun. Yeah, he steals this movie. Like, if someone said, give me one reason to watch Pet Sematary 2. It's easiest answer, Clancy Brown. Like, it's the only thing you have to say. I'm just fucking with you. Yeah, no, for real. The same year Pet Sematary 2 came out, there was also movie Sleepwalkers, which also Sleepwalkers is another horse of a different color. I don't know. Ask Stephen King to sign your DVD or Pet Sematary 2 Blu-ray. No, I don't think he would. He didn't even have his name on it. I like PS2 better than the heartless, emotion-free remake. Oh, I don't know. I don't know, man. What would you say, Trench, if you had to compare? Do you like the sequel better or the remake better? I haven't seen the remake. I can't say.
I feel like the because the remake, my problem with it is it's not horrible. If it was horrible in a train wreck, I could just write it off as a piece of shit. But they had potential, but I feel like they squandered it. So I could see why like someone like Eric would like it. I could see there was potential there, but just for me personally, I feel like they could have done more with it and they didn't. And it was just missed potential.
That happens, man. That does happen. I don't know. Maybe I would have probably liked them to do a Pet Sematary 3 instead of a remake. Like I would like, like a lot of times now where Ghostbusters 1 and 2, let's do a third one all these years later. And, Bill and Ted 1 and 2, let's do a third one all these years. Granted, those are two things I would never have touched or brought back, but maybe Pet Sematary 3 would have been interesting. I mean, that's something that maybe I would have been up for more than a remake. But then again, I haven't seen it. What would you think?
I don't know, because I don't know if they should have made another sequel or a remake or a sequel to begin with. But like I said, I don't mind part two, even though if they did, like, I kind of wish they brought Pascal back in part two, because Pascal was my dude. He's my favorite, one of my favorite characters from movies, and one of my favorite characters in the first film. It would be cool to see him kind of become the guardian of the harbinger of the Indian burial ground, and maybe you could have brought him back if they did a part three and have the connecting be Pascal warning everybody to stay away, and just nobody listens to him. Even I don't know, because they would probably butcher him because they butchered him in the remake. I did not like what they did with him in the remake, but mainly because they didn't use him. But yeah.
Uh-huh. I don't know. I would stay away. I'm going to stay away from the remake then, because if I didn't watch it for this, that means I don't ever have to watch it. I'm thrilled, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, we could have done it, but I don't know. I didn't want to put you through that.
You said I didn't have to, so I took the hall pass and I ran with it, man. I can't lie to you, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. No big deal. Maybe for another. Hey, if you want to ever get back together, you're always more than welcome. We can even do a review just for that. Clancy was the bully in Bad Boys, and Clancy was in the Elm Street remake. These people saying hi to each other. Somebody said Pet Sematary in space. I don't know. I wouldn't have been over for that.
Oh my. That might be awesomely. That might be one of the best bad movies ever made. I don't know. That sounds great.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe they'll get working on it. Pet Sematary prequel is in the work. Pam Grier, Henry Thomas are all they've revealed is that there's a young Judd. It'll be for Paramount Plus. That sounds horrible to me. What do you think?
I don't know. I think we already know enough about Judd's backstory. Let's not ruin Judd.
They'll CGI Fred Gwynn in there, like, oh, hey.
Oh, God.
They'll do it. They fucking do it to everybody. They CGI'd Harold Ramis in the Ghostbusters. They're just going to CGI everybody now. Like, it doesn't matter if you died. You'll be CGI'd in. I just can't stand Hollywood. Pet Sematary and Uranus. Well, that wouldn't be fun. I read they were planning to do a Christine remake. I wouldn't touch that either. Leave Christine alone. I love the guy who plays Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob. He's on Pet Sematary. Yeah, no, we were just talking about it. Trenchy has been a great guest as always. Oh, the man. I have a great time talking with Trench tonight. Bad Boys, are you referring to the 90s movie? Yes. Prequel, I am not in the mood for any more nostalgia cash grabs. Yeah, no, me neither. No, Bad Boys was a prison movie. Oh, okay. He's talking about the Bad Boys in the 80s with Sean Penn. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Brother, I had a wonderful time tonight talking all things Pet Sematary with you. If there's anything else you wanted to mention on here, though, feel free. But if not, I had a great show with you, man. Thank you so much for coming on and being a great guest.
I mean, yeah, it was good talking. I think we kind of talked about both movies pretty well. And I got nothing I could think of, but just thanks for having me on. It was a fun time.
Dude, yeah, I know, and I apologize it took so long, a long time coming, but I'm glad that you could definitely, join me tonight and shoot the breeze on your all-time favorite, and then the legend that is Pet Sematary Part 2, man. I appreciate you coming on. But yeah, and I want to thank everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for watching us tonight and being supportive. Like I said, if you guys are interested in Grande's Graveyard t-shirts, let me know your size. I'm ordering them tomorrow morning, so let me know. If not, forever hold your peace. No big deal if you don't want one. But yeah, so that's going to be all for the show tonight. Everyone's saying great stream. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate that. You guys rock so much. Thank you so much. Great stream, guys. Yeah, Nanu. Yeah, everyone smashes the like. Sure, you can smash the like. But yeah, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Trench, thank you for coming on. And like I said, you're always more than welcome to join down the road if you ever want to come back on.
Yeah, again, thanks for having me. It was really fun to cover both these movies and just shoot the shit and actually talk to you in person.
Yeah, I know, and a lot over the chat over the years. So it's nice to finally interact with you over this. And like I said, if you ever have an idea for another show that you want to come back on, don't be a stranger. Let me know, and we'd come on and talk about it. Junebug says it was fun. Thank you. I love you, Trench. You too, Grande. We love you too, Ty. And John Steele says, "Don't worry, I'll snatch a tee off whoever's wearing it and keep it." All right, fair enough, Mr. Steele. Everyone, thank you so much for joining, and we will catch you next time only on the Graveyard. Too sweet peace. Good night, everybody.
Stay frosty.